Hi, my name is Yash. I hope you all can hear me and see me. I have been joined by my colleague Diana Todirica. She is Head of Operations at AY&J Solicitors, and she is also a Senior Immigration Associate at AY&J Solicitors. I'll introduce myself. I'm the Managing Director at AY&J Solicitors, and this webinar we have hosted with the help of the local entrepreneur Dean. Dean is having some difficulty in broadcasting his voice, but he will try to jump in if he could sort out these technical difficulties. We are just waiting for more people to connect on this webinar so that everybody can benefit with what we'll be sharing today. Sure. While you are there, while we are just getting on this webinar, please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. There is of course a lot of material online on YouTube channel. There are many video testimonials and many educational videos there as well, which you can enjoy once we finish this webinar. So in this webinar, of course, we are trying to cover the special visa category, which is called Global Talent Visa, and it has many benefits. And in my view and in my colleagues' view, based on our great experience dealing with this visa category, we believe it's not difficult. It's not difficult. So we want to share that with you. If you find it easy and if you are genuinely interested to have a better life, and if you want to start a new life in the UK, then please, we are more than happy to help. But this is more about educating you, sharing our experience, expertise of many years, and try and provide some sort of information and education if this is right fit for you. And if it is, then I would suggest you go for it. So now, if we can start now, this seminar is more about how to earn 50,000 a year and start a new life in the UK. Now, this category is mainly focused for people in IT, digital technology. It might be business skill in digital technology, or it might be technical IT skill, right? So you might be in a business side of it, you might be in a technical side of it, of digital technology. In my view, the reason I have picked up this figure of 50,000, because I was doing some Google research for people, what their potential earning, and you can do it yourself. If you search for jobs in Google UK, the famous website in jobs for UK is indeed.co.uk. It says INDEED, indeed.co.uk. So if you search in Google and if you search for these jobs with your job title, you will see the salary is 50,000 and way more than 50,000 for some of the special category in IT. And for that reason, I picked up this number for this webinar. So we'll focus and see how you might have, and I'm sure you would have a potential of earning 50,000 a year and start a new life in the UK. Now, the only hurdle between your life you want, which is your extraordinary life, so there is a gap. The gap is like you are living a life now, you are abroad, I assume you are abroad as of now, and you want an extraordinary life, a life better than what it is now, and that is your dream. And what I want to do is, if you want to close this gap between the life you have now, which, let's say, if we can say that ordinary life, and if you want to achieve this extraordinary life, my job today is to try and help you how you can close this gap, right? If this is you want, then this webinar is for you and we can help you today. Now, the main goal of this webinar is we will provide you with an easy option to get a UK visa that is called Global Talent Visa. And this visa can help you to work in the UK with minimum restriction. You don't need any investment. You don't need to invest 50,000 or 2 million or 200,000 pounds. You don't need any sponsorship. So you don't need any UK employer to sponsor you so that you get work permit. You are independent. You will be independent. You can work with any employer. You can even work as a self-employed consultant, which is highly paid jobs for IT people in UK, right? People I have heard of getting paid like 300 to 500 pound per day, and there are some of them, they earn £1,000 a day as a IT consultant in UK. And this is not a joke. This is a serious. And you can search it on Google. You can search on Google. You know, there are cybersecurity expert, AI expert, or UX UI designer, or software developers. If you are specialized in this niche, if you say a daily rate of this consultant, which starts from minimum 3 to 500 pound, it goes up to £1,000 per day, right? And you don't need any sponsorship. You can keep changing the employer with this visa category. It's a much more flexible visa category, and it's not a lengthy, longer period time, right? It's quick. And of course, we will cover what is the timeline in this webinar today. What is the timeline to get this visa? What are the basic requirements? We will cover this in this webinar today. So stay with us. Now, what I want to do, I just want to give you a bit of background. And the reason of sharing this story is just to explain you where I, as a migrant coming from, and what I have been able to achieve in last 15 years. And it's not perfect story, right? It might relate with you. And where I'm coming from a very humble background. I was born and brought up in India, a small village in Gujarat. A very humble background. My father was a driver. I was earning about 3,000 rupees a month. He passed away in 1997. And then we were left with my mother and my brother and a sister. So we had 3 siblings and my mother. In 2002, I finished my education and I had no jobs, and I was getting a job of 5,000 rupees. And I thought, I do not want to settle for a normal life. I want a better, extraordinary life, not just for myself, but for my sister, for my brother, and my mother as well. So I did not have money to pay for my visa fees, which was £150. And I thought, how about if I just go abroad and have a better life? I had nothing. I had no job. I had no money, not even a money to pay for my visa fees, and I did not have money to come here. So we were discussing between me and my sister. My sister said, you have to go now. And I was looking for £1,500. I thought, okay, I'll save that £1,500 for next 6 months. Somehow I'll get it and then go. My sister said, no, you have to go now. I don't know how you would do it, but you have to do it. So then I went to my cousin. I borrowed £1,500. Fortunately, my cousin was very generous. He gave me £1,500. And with that money, in 2003, I came to the UK. I had no contacts. I came as a student. I had no expertise. I had no experience. And I wasted literally 5 years in the UK. I studied. And I was doing a job as a security guard. And then I was also working in a shop, mopping and sweeping floor. So I wasted 5 years. After 5 years, I started an immigration law firm in 2008. In 2008, I started this immigration law firm. And by now, in next 10, 11 years, we became a multi-award winning Legal 500 leading immigration law firm in central London. And we have 1,000+ reviews from various clients. And we became a multi-million pound business. We have provided a better life for many families, not just for me, but many families. I managed to get UK visas for many migrants from all over the world. Of course, my main clientele is from Indian backgrounds because I was born and brought up there. And I have provided my family with the best life, a best house, and a nice car as well. I've completed a London Marathon in 2017, and I'm also helping a charity called Pratham UK, which is helping underprivileged children in India for education, if you heard about this charity. Now that's a bit of my background, so you can see a story. You know, I'm a simple human being who came for a better life from India to UK, and if I can create this for myself, I'm sure you can do that too. I believe most of you are today here. You are from IT background. You know, you are having a great expertise, great knowledge in your domain. The only thing you need is to take an action. If you take an action and if you follow this webinar and agenda and of course the process, I'm sure there is something for you, right? Now, today's agenda is in a short time, in a very short time today, together, my goal is to make a big impact. And the way I will do it is I'll create a confidence. There is a more possibility to qualify for global talent visa than you can think, right? And this is what I want to give you. And the reason I can give you, because me and my colleague, we have been doing this global talent visa, which was previously called as a tier 1 exceptional talent visa. They have renamed the category in February 2020, right? And then now renamed as a global talent visa, right? So we want to create this confidence that it's more possible than you can think of to qualify for global talent visa. And we'll provide you a clarity as to how you can get a global talent visa. And this will unlock a great potential within you to transfer your finances, your career, and your life. So this is the today's agenda. So stay tuned with us. You will get to know a lot in this short time today. And once we finish this webinar, and what I would need from you is, I just need an implementation. Just implement what you listen here today. If you do nothing, what will change tomorrow? You got to answer the question, if you do nothing today, what will change tomorrow? Nothing will change, right? You will stay where you are. You have to take some action, implement what you get to know today. Now, knowledge without progress is failure. Knowledge, if you have a great knowledge, if you get good knowledge from me today, you do nothing, it's a failure, right? It gets you nowhere. Now, if you are where you want to be, right? So let's say the red spot, if you see on your screen, that's where you are today, right? And you want a desired result, which is a green spot, right? To get to the green spot, you must do something different. If you where you are is not where you want to be, then you need to take some action today, and we will explain you what action you can take today so that you get where you want to be. That is your green spot from the red one. Now, you might have heard this cliche, and the cliche is thought becomes things, right? Thought becomes things. I will explain you how my thought became things today for me, right? It might become a things for you tomorrow. Why not, right? So think about what I show you today in this webinar, and then see yourself doing it, right? So you have to see yourself doing it, what I show you today, right? So I'm going to give you a key, right? I'm going to give you a key today, how you can have a better life, career, and finances in UK by getting this global talent visa. All you have to take some action. And what is that action? I will also explain in this webinar. All I need is a yes or no from you. Are you ready for it? If you are, let's go for it, right? Are you ready? If yes, let's move on. The next one is, why UK? I mean, that's the question I get most of the time. Why UK, right? And the answer is very simple, right? For me, it was more money. I mean, I'll be very honest. There is nothing to hide about it, and I'm not ashamed of saying that I came to the UK for making more money, because I was coming from a very humble background. I was tired of that life. I did not wanted that life for myself, my sister, my brother, and my mother, right? I wanted more money, and for that only reason I came to the UK, to make more money, right? So it might be a same reason for you, right? If you want more money, UK can offer that. If you want a better house, which cost about 50 lakhs or maybe 2-3 crore rupees in India, you need more money, right? And UK can offer that. Then after, you might need a better car, right? If you need a better car, probably it might cost probably 10 lakhs rupees, or it might cost you 80 lakhs rupees, right? But you need more money for that. UK can offer that. If you get this global talent visa, and if you come to the UK, you might make this sort of money, and it would be easier for you to afford a better car, better house for yourself. Now, the third reason I can think of why UK is a good place, and that is healthcare, that is medical, right? If you can see this comparison between India and UK about the cost of healthcare in India and the cost of healthcare in UK, it will be very clear. You know, in India, if you want to do, let's say, bypass surgery, it costs between 2 lakhs rupees to 6 lakhs rupees, right? If you want a heart transplant, it may cost maybe 14 lakhs rupees to 25 lakhs rupees, right? It's expensive, where in UK is free. And this is not a joke, this is reality. In UK, the medical treatment is free, right? You don't need to pay for anything. It might be a simple visit to your local doctor, or it might be a major surgery, heart transplant, or whatever it might be, heart surgery, it's free. You do not pay any money for your healthcare in UK. The next one is school education, right? So school education in India is getting expensive and expensive day by day. And I have picked out some research based on, of course, my research recently. 79% of Indian parents are spending regular earnings for their child's education, right? 57% of Indian parents cut down on their leisure activities to support their children's education, right? 60% of Indian parents sacrifice their yearly vacation to save money. But in UK, it's free. School education in UK is free. Of course, you have to pay for the university education, but school education is free in UK. Last not the least, the major benefit is better lifestyle. It's a better infrastructure, developed country. I am enjoying very much here, and I believe it's a better lifestyle for me, and you can have it too, right? Now let's focus, this is just why UK. Now let's focus on the visa category itself. It's called Global Talent Visa. This is the category we will be talking about, and we will talk about what is it first, and then we'll talk about how do we get this for you. Then we'll talk about the timeline of this category, and then we'll also talk about what are the offers we have for you so that you can get it. Throughout this, because my colleague is specialized in global talent visa, she has kindly joined us on this webinar, and she is happy to share her knowledge with us, and she will also share some of the real examples she has dealt with successfully of global talent visa, and you might relate with those examples. And it's not complicated, it's definitely not complicated. Now, let's go to the next slide, that is called how do we get this. So now, before we talk about how do we get this, let's talk about global talent visa. What is global talent visa? Global talent visa, it was previously known as a tier 1 exceptional talent visa. So if someone read these categories, okay, tier 1 exceptional talent, they mostly get discouraged. I am not exceptional talent. They think I am not exceptional talent, I should not go for it. Because of that name, right, the name tier 1 exceptional talent, which is not very encouraging word for someone to apply for it. So government renamed the category, they rebranded as a global talent visa, right? So what UK government wants now is they want to attract talent from all over the world, because post Brexit has happened. From 1st January 2021, UK will not be in EU, right? UK is not there in EU from January 2021. And UK government can see there is a shortage of the IT skill set they need is there. Now, there is a great shortage, right? The EU technological people, they are not very keen, or they are not very encouraged to come to the UK anymore, right? There is already a shortage of inflow of these technocrat people from EU because of this Brexit. They feel they are not welcomed anymore here. There is a great vacuum of the talent we need in the UK today. And for that reason, the UK government wants you technical people, all talented people, they want here. So what they have done in February 2020, they rebranded this category from exceptional to global talent so that people get encouraged and understood. Like, look, you can qualify for it, number one. Number two, they have removed the cap. There was a cap of only 1,000 people can get this 1,000 or 2,000 at max, they can get this tier 1 exceptional talent. Now in global talent visa, what they have done, they have removed that cap. Unlimited people can come to the UK if they qualify. How do you qualify? We will explain you in a minute, right? So stay with us. We will explain you how to get this global talent visa. So that is global talent visa and its history. So now there is no cap. As long as you qualify, unlimited people can join this category that is called global talent visa, and it doesn't take too long as well. And let's cover how do we get this. Very simple. Try and focus. It's very simple, right? It's not complicated. You just need to understand what it takes. So there are two criteria you need to meet, right? There are two criteria you need to meet to qualify for global talent visa. Number one criteria is called key criteria. What is that? Is a key criteria. You need to meet key criteria, and number two criteria is called qualifying criteria. Number one is key criteria. I will repeat one more time. One criteria is key criteria. Number two criteria is called qualifying criteria. Now in key criteria, there are two options. I hope you guys are getting this point. It might be complex, but don't worry. We'll make it easier for you. Do not get discouraged. It's easy. Key criteria, there are two options, and you need to qualify for at least one key criteria. If you see the slide on your screen, right? So there are two options. Option number one is either you fit into the innovation key criteria, or you provide a proof of recognition for your work outside your occupation. How do you meet this key criteria? We'll cover that now. And I also invite my colleague to feed in her experience and her knowledge as to how you could potentially qualify for this key criteria. So in this key criteria, there are two options, but you just need to meet one. You don't need to meet both of them. If you just meet one key criteria, you will be fine, right? So once you tick this box, you meet one key criteria, we then move on to the next criteria. It's called qualifying criteria, and we'll discuss about that in a minute. But let's focus on key criteria. So if you are in, let's say, IT, so if when you were registering for the webinar, we mentioned who should attend, right? So there were specific category of people we were talking about who would qualify for this global talent visa. These are the people are highly likely to meet the requirement. But anyways, we'll do the assessment at a later part of this webinar for all of you. We'll give you an opportunity to do an assessment, and then we'll get to know whether you do qualify or you do not qualify. We'll cover that. So don't get worried too much about it. Let's focus on key criteria. So number one is innovation. Have you been a part of an innovative project or product in the digital technology sector? Have you been a part of an innovative project or product in the digital technology sector? Now you will ask me a question, what is that? What is innovative project? What is innovative product? For an example, let's make it easy. You are working in, let's say, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Accenture, all these companies. Let's say you're working there. You are working as an employee. Now there is a big project which, let's say, Infosys has with Royal Bank of Scotland or Lloyd TSB Group in UK, or probably in USA somewhere with a big client. There is a big project, right? So when you work on this project, let's say you are a part of 1,000 people group, right? There are 1,000 people working on this big project, or let's say 500 people working on this project, and you are part of this project. You have done something, you have done some sort of programming, or you have contributed somehow, little bit here and there in the part of this piece of project. So that's your contribution, right? You do not need to invent something. You do not need to become a scientist to qualify for this category. You just need to be a part of the entire project. You don't need to be leader of that project. You should have contributed somehow, right, in this innovative project or product in a digital technology sector. And I guess if you have worked for a couple of years, you might have done that. You just need to look back and think, have you done some sort of participation in innovative project and product? Yes or no? If it's yes, you might meet this criteria. And of course, as I said earlier, we'll do a detailed assessment at a later part of this webinar, and we'll provide you that opportunity as well. Let's pick up the next key criteria. It's called proof of recognition for work outside your immediate occupation. What is that? It might be a mentoring. You might be mentoring outside your occupation, such as, you are going to a colleges, probably you are mentoring students, or you are mentoring the organizations or startups. So it can be any form of mentorship. What it cannot include is, if you are mentoring your colleagues in your company, you might not qualify for this criteria. But if you are mentoring separately, a group of students, or if you are visiting outside your work to an organization to mentor others, then you might qualify for this criteria, right? Then let's say any startups you are mentoring, you might qualify for this criteria. Do you attend any conferences as a speaker, right? If you go out, you speak about what you know of your field, of your digital technology, and if you explain people, right? I'm explaining you now about global talent visa. If you do that, and if you get evidence of that, you might qualify for this criteria. So as I said, if you are inactive, if you are very, very active in your digital technology sector, there is a possibility you might qualify for this criteria. The next one is qualifying criteria. Let's pick that. But before I move on to that, I will invite my colleague's opinion if she has to say anything about key criteria. Diana, do you have to add anything about key criteria?
You don't necessarily have to have been, let's say, have had pattern applications in order for you to meet one of the two key criteria. So even if you were, let's say, I'll pick up the example of an architect, and you have been assigned to a project with, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your colleagues or your entire team, but your contribution has meant a lot to the project that your employer handled, then that can be considered, of course, with relevant evidence as part of you being part of an innovative project or product. And the same I would suggest, and from my experience will apply for any work that you do outside of your everyday job. Yes, you might be mentoring, but in addition to that, you may also, let's say, be doing loads of video, how you share with people your knowledge. So anything that you share outside of your everyday activity that could contribute or can contribute to the advancement of the sector. So do not be afraid of just seeing the word innovation or just seeing the word mentoring. No one is expecting you to be a PhD graduate or to mentor PhD graduates. No, it's all about what impact or what do you bring to the digital technology in itself. So you have two key criteria. If you have not been part of an innovation of such an innovative product or project, then you can always fall and you can always choose the second key criteria, which is mentoring. And I find it easy when I'm preparing application or helping others to get such a visa, because people or applicants, they may think, oh no, I don't think so, I have, but then they will say, well, hang on a second, I have been assisting a certain number of startups or companies or colleges, or I've attended plenty of conferences as a speaker as part of my own organization. So let's say you are part of Microsoft, and Microsoft might see a potential in you as an employee. So you will be assigned to go and be a speaker to various conferences. That can also add up to and enable you to meet the key criteria too.
Do you have the live example you recently did for a technocrat person? One was from Hong Kong, one was from India as well. If you want to share that example from start to end, how they get, so that gentleman, how he got in touch with you from day one to probably the day we got him global talent visa, if you can share that experience, which might probably connect with our audience today.
So one of my applicants, he was a Hong Kong national, living quite a good life, I would say, earning sufficient funds in Hong Kong, and he has been part of Microsoft for a long period of time. But of course, he wanted a much better life for him and his family. He had 2 children, and he wanted to make sure that he can offer this to his family. He also, of course, had the opportunity of applying for a sponsorship through his employer. But then had he applied for a sponsorship, I mean, being a tier 2 with Microsoft, that would mean that he would be stuck with the sponsor, and he could not actually pursue his dream in expanding his knowledge and career. He wanted to set up a company and implement artificial intelligence in the healthcare system. And he couldn't do that if he was on a sponsorship. So he started searching, and then he came across this global talent visa. Of course, he came across our details and the reviews and the YouTube videos that we have. Please let me refer you back to the latest YouTube videos that we have on Global Visa. It's just basically an opinion given by a client which we have helped to obtain this visa. So he got in touch with us, called us, we did an assessment. It only took me 20 minutes to assess his eligibility for this criteria. And then we said, okay, let's get started. As part of his application, so he was an architect, but prior him joining Microsoft, he also had some sort of contribution in setting up a limited company, a digital technology company, where in Hong Kong they were producing these apps for phone. So it was him and another colleague of his, but of course he wanted more from life, and he said, look, this is not working out for me. So he went and became a full-time employee of Microsoft. In Microsoft, the project, the sole project that he's worked on and has had, where he had a contribution to the project, was an implementation of a bank CMR system to be able, it's basically, as of now, it's a competitor of a payee application. So you all know that, you know, Alibaba payments application. So the banks, one of the banks in Hong Kong has managed to release such an application for people to be able to make online payments. Of course, it's been a success. So there were plenty of, so Microsoft has tried implementing this for some time, but then they failed. So they actually brought our applicant, or my client, they brought him on the project, and along with another member or another few members of his team, he managed to deliver this app and get it up and running. So that his contribution had for the bank, their client, and Microsoft a significant impact. Not only that, of course, they delivered the project as agreed, but he received recognition. So his salary got increased, he got promotion. And so this is the what we have relied on as part of his global talent application. Now, if I was to refer you to, well, what about, has he been doing any mentoring? Yes, he has been. So he was a speaker to various conferences throughout his employment. But in addition to that, he was part of a few groups or IT organization in Hong Kong. So this is how we actually met the second criteria. We did not rely on innovation because we've decided that the evidence he had for the key criteria was more towards mentoring. So we relied on mentoring.
Yeah. It can be during last 5 years. So we have a question called how latest should be the innovation. So the answer to that question, it can be within last 5 years.
Yes,
right?
That's absolutely
if it's right. Within last 5 years, the innovation is within last 5 years, it's perfectly fine. So Dean, if it's okay, I can just move on to the next part of it. If it's okay. Yeah, we can with another question. Yeah. Yes. Sure. 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 So the question is, do you need to have a patent to qualify for global talent visa? That's the question. And the answer is no. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to have a patent. That's the answer. Yeah. Shall we move on to the next part of this? Yeah. So what my colleague has done recently, just now, she has shared with you a live example, and I'm sure many of you can relate with that. And if you could relate with that, and if you think there is a slightest possibility, we can do your assessment, and we will explain how we can do that at the last part of this webinar. So just stick with us. Now the next part. So one part is key criteria, which of course Diana has explained you in much more detail. But the next part is qualifying criteria. And you need to meet at least 2 out of 4 qualifying criteria, right? Now, because Diana is expert, I'll let her deal with that. And I would appreciate, Diana, if you can take the same example of the applicant, how you manage to help him meet this qualifying criteria, and probably our audience can relate with that, and they can understand how probably they could meet
So
this.
for the qualifying criteria, we've decided to rely on number 1, which is you have to be able to evidence that you've made significant technical contribution in the digital technology sector. And in my client's case, yes, he has, because he was part of this amazing project where his idea, hard work, and persistence has made it go live. Then the other qualifying criteria that we relied on for the same applicant was number 3, where you need to be able to demonstrate that how do you keep up with your learning? How do you master new digital skills? So it's not sufficient for you just to call yourself, look, I'm an architect, but I don't do any other use. I mean, I don't take any courses, or, I've know enough. No, that's not sufficient. So I'm pretty much sure, based on my experience with many applicants that I've helped and currently dealing with, at least 15 at this stage, technical applicants, they tend to go on and subscribe to various course providers, university or colleges, where they can improve their skills. So they become better and better. Now, I will give you a tip, and I hope that you may want to use it if you were to prepare this application on your own. If you wish to rely on key criteria 3, which refers to have continuous learning or evidence of mastering of new digital skills, I would suggest, so if you are a DevOps guy with, let's say, 5 or 6 years of experience, it would not be appropriate for you and go and do a, let's say, a course on commercial or anything to do, let's say, buying and selling stuff or shares. So it has to be related to your skill that you wish to apply when you are making this application. And one more thing to make you aware of, certifications such as master degrees, bachelors, it carries or very little weight when you are actually preparing an application, especially as a technical applicant. And I would suggest, if the certification should not be older than 5 years. So what you are expected at least to be working on your new digital skill or your current digital skill, but you just have to update. So you keep mastering these skills that you have. At least every year, I would suggest every year or every other year, you should have a qualification. And of course, each qualification should be taken through I would say a renowned course provider, and probably I can give an example of one of them. That's Coursera. But of course, there are plenty of other course provider. But you have to recall that you need, each certification should give you at least 20 hours of learning. Okay. Anything that's less, it might not be considered.
So if you look at that, I mean, doing a 20 hours course certificate is not too complicated for you if you are doing a full-time job, right? And if you have that certificate, based on what Diana just said, I mean, if you have that certificate, you can rely on having continuous learning. Now, based on that, meeting qualifying criteria, in my view, is not complicated. So for an example, if you have made some significant technical contribution in the project, it might be any project, right? You might have worked for any big corporation doing a very big project, of course. And if you have done some contribution, you might qualify for that number 1. So out of 4, let's pick number 1 and number 3, which is a continuous learning. So Coursera, how do you spell Coursera? Is
Coursera.
So sure, sure, yes. Sure. So there is no age limit. So there is a question, is there any age limit for this global talent visa? And the answer is no. There is no age limit to apply for global talent visa as long as you can meet the key criteria and qualifying criteria. Now, to answer the other question, if you are in teaching and if you have done masters in computer engineering, of course, what that this person has to look into is, of course, they have to see if they meet the key criteria and qualifying criteria. Of course, it will require a very detailed assessment, which we'll cover at the end of this webinar, which should not take too long, maybe 10 minutes. You will come to know how we can do this assessment, whether he does qualify or not. Just stay with us for 10 more minutes and we'll get to know that. Dean, can we move on now? Good, good. So my colleague just covered a little bit about qualifying criteria. It gives some advantage to people who has some sort of research degree, but it's not necessary to have it, right? If we pick the easy one, easy to key qualifying criteria, in my view, and probably in my colleague's view, is to prove that you have made significant technical or commercial contribution and you have a continuous learning. Now, if you are in IT, I'm sure, and this is my experience. I mean, I've seen people doing some certification continuous to improve their skill set. We can use that as long as it was 20 hours a course. It might be online. We can look into it. So let's move on to the next part of it, and this is yeah. Can you? Is that okay? Okay, fine. Shall we continue now? So this is most important part. The next slide is 3 referee you need. So you need at least 3 references, right? You need at least 3 references from 3 referees, right? And their position should be a level of CEO or the director or CTO, or there can be a professor of your university or equivalent, right? If it's a very big company, let's say you are working in Microsoft or Infosys, it's extremely difficult for you to get to the CEO, right? So it might not be the CEO of Microsoft, Infosys, Wipro, but it might be an equivalent position in your organization. So what you cannot do is you cannot just get the reference from your team leader, right? It has to come from the higher up, right? So we need minimum 3 references from referees, right, such as CEO, director, CTO, professor, or equivalent. Not necessarily have to have this job title, but it should be up in the hierarchy, who can comment on your contribution in the field of technology on their official letter-headed paper. This is minimum. If you can't get that, we cannot make this application. Simple as that. We need these 3 references minimum, right? And these people, they should be familiar with your work and your contribution in the digital technology sector, and they should be qualified to assess your claim to be a potential leader or leader in the field. So you might be a leader and you might be a potential leader, and this is extremely important to understand the difference between the potential leader and leader. You do not need to be the leader today, but you have the potential. You have a potential to become leader tomorrow. If we can prove that, you can still get global talent visa. It's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. You just need to prove there is a potential. You need 3 references from someone who can comment on your contribution. So if you can do that, there is a good chance and there is a potential chance you can get your global talent visa. Now, the next part is, Dean, if there are any question, I'm happy to take that question, or else we can get into timeline. We just again need to do an assessment. So there is a question, working on a big e-commerce platform or project, does that sound like a big contribution? It might be. It's very difficult for us to comment, looking at the very little detail as of now. We can do the assessment, as I said in the last part of this webinar. We will advise audience how we can do that. Sure. Perfect. If that contract or whatever the project they have worked in, right, if it fits into some sort of innovative product and services, then of course we will try. Why not? We will try. We'll look into it. It's not impossible. As I said, we just need to do a detailed assessment of that in due course. We can do that. Now, so Dean, with your permission, of course, I'll just move on to now next slide, which is about the timeline of this process, which is beautiful. And this is what I love the most about the UK immigration. Now, I heard about the Canadian, Australian, USA immigration. It takes ages, right? It takes months and months and sometimes years and years to qualify, where UK is fast. If you qualify for your global talent visa, if we are ready with your application today and if we submit today, my colleague is here, she gets the decision within 28 days for the stage 1. It's 4 weeks. So there are two stage of this process. Stage number 1, you need to get an endorsement from the tax nation, right? You need to get an endorsement from the relevant endorsing body, and it takes up to 4 weeks. That's my colleague's latest experience. That's what she is getting. She makes the application within 28 days. She gets the endorsement. After endorsement, it's kind of a letter you get, approval letter, that you are endorsed for your global talent. And then after, you make a stage 2 application. And that is your entry clearance if you're overseas. And it takes between 2 to 4 weeks to get it approved. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all in all, somewhere between, let's say, 12 to 24 weeks, right? Average. This is average. Now that is preparation time. So of course this is a decision time, but if you even contact today, we can't do the application for you today. So it will take between, let's say, 3 months. Sometimes it takes up to 6 months. It depends where you are as of now, how you are prepared, what stage of your career and preparation you are in, and then we might need to suggest you something to improve your profile and to fit into this criteria. So we need to do some advice, and if you follow our advice, you might qualify, if not today, not in 3 months, maybe in 6 months. So we have to work as a team together for you to submit this application. So is this preparation time? It might be between 3 months, it might be a month, or it might be, let's say, 6 months. The preparation time might be more. And when we work as a team, we will help you, we will advise you how you could qualify, what part of your application you are not strong, how you can improve that. It all covers in our services. We'll discuss in the last part of this webinar. So decision time, stage 1, 4 weeks. Decision time, stage 2, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. You get the quick decision. Now, if you need our help, we can help you, right? I'll explain you the solution. What is that? How much we charge, how we work with our clients, and how we help them. So help is at hand. If you need it, we can help you, right? Based on this information, you can do it yourself. But if you find it difficult, if you want a quick response from a tried and trusted lawyers, we are here to help you. And what we do, we charge £10,000, right? That's the one-off fees, but we provide unlimited legal advice. We provide a complete hand-holding support, and that's called end-to-end project management. From day one, that includes assessment. We try and find out which area you are good, which area you need to improve, how you can improve, because we know the technique, how you can improve your profile and meet this criteria. And dedicated lawyer, likewise Diana, will work with you throughout the process, will provide you a comprehensive document checklist and all relevant templates, because when you get the references, that references are the key to your success. So we will help you how to draft those references. We will provide you a question, then of course you provide us draft. We'll help you to improve that draft. There will be many back and through to get the right and final draft, which you can of course request your referee if they can approve and sign off on the letterhead paper. So we work together as a team throughout the process. We'll of course prepare your application and we'll submit with the home office and relevant endorsing body, and we'll liaise with them throughout. The beauty is this is unlimited legal advice. Now, I want to add a twist here. We are so confident in what we do, we offer this, right? Either we offer you guaranteed success, and if not, we offer you full money back. We do not want your fees at all if we cannot get you the result you want. If you get the visa, we keep the fees. If you don't get the, we just give you money back, full money back, and there is no small condition. There is no small condition. As long as you be truthful to us and you support us as well while we are preparing application together, we'll just give you money back if you don't get it. Simple as that. If there is an appeal process, we'll do the appeal for you as well for free, right? So we'll fight for the case up until we get the decision positive. We will keep the fees. If not, we'll just refund you the full money, no small condition attached to it. It's simple as it sounds, full money back. Now, little bit about ourselves, who we are, right? We are a multi-award winning immigration law firm. We have 10+ year experience. We are a boutique immigration law firm based in central London. We are in Legal 500 and you can check that online. We are in Legal 500 and we are a regulated solicitors firm. We have 4,000+ clients and we have probably almost 700+ independent review at Trustpilot and Google. So if you go on Trustpilot, if you're on Google, you will find this review online about AY&J Solicitors. Now, I wanted to share a video of a video testimonial, but because of the technical problem doing this broadcasting, I thought let me just share a written testimonial, which is of Deepak Singh Jindal, right? He's one of my clients. What he's saying is we are a professional of the highest order with great results. So I'm not saying that. Is one of my client, and you can see and you will find almost 700+ reviews on Google and on Trustpilot. So on Trustpilot about 450 reviews, on Google there are 300+ reviews. Please read it yourself. This is what they have to say, right? This is the review they are providing. Now, we are almost about the end of this webinar and I'll explain you what to do next, right? So you've been thinking it's complex. It might not be easy because we have been doing it for last 10 years. So for us, it's very easy. We know how to make it work. 1, 2, 3, done, right? So we know how to do it, but for you, it might not be easy, right? And you're thinking, what is next? So my next question to you is, you have to decide how do you want the next 10 years to turn out for yourself. You have to decide how do you want your next 10 years to be turned out. Right? Now, if you do nothing, what will change? That's my question to you today. If you do nothing today, what will change? Nothing will change, right? Now, a journey of 1,000, it might take a complicated, because when you want to work, probably if you have to work with us for next 6 months, it's a kind of a journey when you're working full time. But if you want a better life for yourself, for your family, for your children, you have to take a journey. And Lao Tzu was saying, like, the journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Just single step. 1,000 miles must begin. The journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Right? Are you ready to take that single step? Are you genuinely ready to that one step? Just one step. And I'll explain you what is that one step in a minute. 1 minute, I'll explain you what is that step. Do you really want to close that gap between the ordinary life and extraordinary life now? If the answer is yes, this is my offer number 1. Because you have been on this webinar with me for 52 minutes, almost 55 minutes, this is my offer. My offer 1 is I will do a free assessment for you. If you email me your CV, your phone number at this email address, which is contact@ayjsolicitors.com, within next 24 hours, we'll do it for free assessment for you. Normally we charge £300. You can check that on our website. If you go on my website and if you take the fee structure, you will see we charge £300 for an assessment. But because we have spent 55 minutes together and I want to offer this to you, it's free assessment. You just need to email your CV and your phone number to us within next 24 hours and we'll check if you do qualify for global talent visa or not. Offer number 2, just for this, right? We'll do this for £8,000 only. With full money back guarantee, it still stands there. We'll charge only £8,000 for next 2 weeks. That means up until 21st May 2020, right? If we start the process, you qualify for this major discount as well. With full money back guarantee, we'll work our heart and soul with you. Our goal is to get you what exactly you want so you can have a better lifestyle, better house, more money for yourself, for your family, right? All you have to do is, again, send your CV, your phone number to contact@ayjsolicitors.com within next 24 hours. Or you can also send it on WhatsApp. So there is a WhatsApp number, which is 0044 7448 565670. So that's my WhatsApp number. There is an email address. We will get back to you within 24 working hours. We work at a lightning speed. We believe in bringing the result you want, and then only we want our fees. Dean, any question? Sure, sure. Yes, it covers everything. They can check online. That's a very good question. They can check online. They can go on SRA website, which is Solicitors Regulation Authority website. It's very easy to Google my name. It's very easy to Google Diana Todirica's name. It's very easy to Google AY&J Solicitors name. They can check on Legal 500. They can check on SRA website as well. Yes. That's up to them, right? So what I've just mentioned is how easy to get the job. Of course, we don't provide jobs. What my understanding, my experience is, if someone is a technocrat and if they have a right skill set, I have seen people, there is a great shortage, Dean. There is a great shortage. People are crying for this skill set, right? So no, you do not need a job to apply for this category. You do not need a job to apply for this category. We apply for this global talent visa based on your skill set, based on your contribution in the digital sector. Yes, good question. So the question is, how do we get ILR from Global Talent Visa? So if you qualify for exceptional talent category, you can get ILR in just 3 years. Just 3 years you get ILR if you qualify for talent category. If you qualified for a promise category, you get ILR in 5 years. So 5 years you get the visa. The beauty is you can work with any employer. You can work as a self-employed consultant, you can work as an employee, you can work with any employer. You don't need permission from the home office and you get ILR in 3 or 5 years. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
As long as they stay within the same IT digital sector.
Yes.
That's the only requirement to their visa. So
Yes.
they have to work within the same category that they have applied for. What does it mean? IT. It can be anything. If they come as architects and tomorrow they turn to be, I don't know, DevOps, it's fine. Because they work within IT.
Yes, as long as they work in IT, they're more likely they will qualify for ILR in 3 to 5 years. Dean. You get straight 5 years. So if you qualify for talent category, you know, where you get ILR in 3 years, then they will give you 3 years. If you qualify under promise category, right, where you get ILR for 5 years, you get straight 5 years. And this is beauty. This is a beauty because you don't need to go for extension. You just do one visa and that lasts up until you get ILR, either 3 years or 5 years. One, you get visa one, and then after that you go for ILR. So there is no more extension in between. It saves a lot of money. When you go for extension, it costs a lot of money in UK. So it saves a great deal of money if you get 3 years or 5 years straight and done. You can bring your family with you as well, spouse or children under 18. You can bring over. Great. So the question is, if you are project manager in technological sector, would you qualify? The answer might be yes. We need to do an assessment. As I said, all they have to do is send us a CV, right, on contact@ayjsolicitors.com and their phone number within next 24 hours. We'll do this assessment for free. People can qualify under business skill of technology sector. They may qualify for it. That's the answer.
Yes.
There is a great demand, but we are not a recruitment company and we don't provide jobs. The best thing is what they can do. They go on Google UK or Indeed.co.uk and they can find the jobs there. Even in this Corona situation, there are lots of openings out there. They can check that.
Yes.
Of course, as long. So this is the hurdle, right? So UK employer would be keen to employ you with your technological skill if you have visa, right? So their hurdle is if you have to have a right visa with you. Global talent visa is offering you an unlimited access to the UK market, whether as an employee or as a self-employed or as a business person. So that is what you need. And this is what we are providing as a solution. We are a bridge in between this hurdle of the employee who is overseas and the employer who is in the UK. If you have this visa, you have much more possibility of getting with these job roles. Definitely yes. As long as they have a valid right to work, which is a UK visa, they will hire you if they want you.
No.
So the question is there any minimum income requirement to qualify for this category for global talent visa or ILR? The answer is no. There is no minimum income requirement. Again, this is the beauty of this visa category. There is no minimum income requirement whether to qualify for this category for first instance or for ILR. Yes, I think they can. There is no restriction. If they come on a global talent visa and if they want to study, they can study. Yes.
But they should spend the majority of their time in working within the IT sector.
Sure. Sorry, can you repeat that, Dean? Yes, we need to look into it. Of course, we will look into it and we'll advise whether it qualifies or not. We have to look into it very closely and we have to advise this client how it can work and where it cannot work. So it's more about our consultancy work with this client. Very simple. Yeah, within 24 hours, send us CV, send us an email to contact at AY&J Solicitors. And if it's easier, just do the WhatsApp, which is there on the screen. Yeah. Please send it over. Feel free. Yeah, happy to help. Within 24 hours is free. Yes. Yes, please. Yeah, and it has to start within 2 weeks, and then that's 20% discount just for them. Yes. Right. No worries. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us. It was a great pleasure sharing my experience and expertise on Global Talent Visa. I hope it's useful to you. Get in touch within 24 hours. The contact details are on your screen. Drop us a CV, your phone number, and we'll help you. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean, for your help. Bye bye.